But what Christians, for example, don't know, that there is a special surah in the Book of Love, in the Holy Quran, which is called Maryam. Yeah. And when my daughter Hamida was born, I was reading this surah. And that's why we gave her as a second name Maryam. Yeah. So Maryam is a very, very high respected person in Islam, and Jesus, of course, too. While the Prophet is not respected in Christianity, right? And there is a famous story about Sheikh Musafir, rahmatullahi, that he was asked if they can make a sermon together into the church, yeah, and then the Christians would come to the mosque and make something with them. So Sheikh Musafir said, yes, that's a good idea, let's do that. So he went with all his dervishes to the church, and if I'm not mistaken, it was on Christmas time, yeah. And he made this beautiful hadra, this beautiful singing, which he was very famous for. And he became even, his work was even protected by the UNESCO as a cultural treasure. Yeah, that saved him from being persecuted by Ataturk in the time. Yeah, because he was very smart and he was declaring themselves as a cultural treasure, that has to be preserved, and the UNESCO accepted it, so they were not touchable. I think in that time in Istanbul, maybe the only ones left who could really make the zikr and the things easy. So he was very famous for his performances. And then the church people said, okay, which day we can come to make our service in the mosque? And he said, you cannot come. And they said, yeah, but wasn't this our agreement? That we would come to your place and then we would celebrate together. And he said, look, we come because we believe in your prophet as well. Yeah. And we can give him our honor and our respect and our love. But you cannot come to us because you do not respect our prophet. Yeah. You do not feel love for him. So there is no place for you there. Yeah. And this was a very strong statement, no? It was a very clear thing. And you see, this is one of the highest beauties that you can find always appearing in many, many places in Sufism, that they invite anybody to their places, but they are not invited the way around to other places. So, for example, in most of the very strong places where some famous awliya, some famous masters are buried, Nizamuddin Awliya, Muinuddin Chisti in Ajmer, all these places are also visited by Hindus. Yeah, they come there, and there's no problem for them to be there. And no one is asking from them anything. They even receive food or whatever they are in need of. But the way around, it is forbidden. Yeah, Muslims cannot enter usually in temples. Yeah, it is not allowed for them to go there. And that's why also Sikhs, for example, are welcomed in those places. And there is even a mosque in the northern province. I'm now forgetting it is Punjab. In Punjab, that there was since centuries a mosque where the Sikhs were doing their rituals and the Muslims were doing their rituals together in one mosque. Yeah, and it's called a mosque. It's not called a Gurudwara. It's called a mosque, and the Sikhs were happy with it. Yeah, to have a place there. And so this kind of unions, you find it very often, yeah, in those countries. But the way around, it does not happen. Yeah. That's why the Prophet Muhammad is called the seal of prophets. Yeah. And all the other prophets before him, we respect them and we recognize them. Even all the old ones and the ones we don't know, yeah, which are not mentioned in the Book of Love, but are mentioned as in the ayat which says every folks received a prophet, received a guidance. Yeah. So there is not a place, even we think that, for example, we think there is places where people live as indigents in the forests and we think that they have no guidance. No, but it is mentioned in the Quran that they had people, and when you listen to their tales and to their stories, then there is always people also that came to them, showed them things, guided them, not in the way it happened in the East, yeah, but in the way that fits very well for their circumstances. No? And one thing certainly they learned more than we learned in the East is to keep peace, no? To keep things all right. And there is this idea from the Middle Europeans and from the Eastern people that they are superior to the Western, no, to the Western indigents, and that they came with this superiority and as a policy basically to either enslave them or to kill them, right? And this has a lifelong consequences up today, because it is said in our tradition, if you kill a holy one, if you kill a prophet, even, yeah, then you have a problem, let's say like this, yeah. So there have been killed a lot of special people there. And that's one of the reasons why also in these areas there is no peace. And they cannot really flower. They should be one of the richest people in the world because they have so much resources, so much treasures there, but they are not. Yeah, they are not. There are independencies with America, there are independencies with all kinds of states, and they cannot find also inside their countries a very stable situation. No?